Yeah. So like you smoke crack and you think like the FBI is after you, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's better than demons. I'd rather keep it to this realm.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Open myself up to like, interdimensional fucking beings and shit.
And you like tell yourself you're like, I'm going to smoke this crack. Like, obviously the CIA is not after me. Obviously the FBI is not after me. Like I'm just I'm a homeless crackhead. And then every single time then you smoke crack and you're like immediately hiding behind a dumpster and you're like, there's a helicopter. And they're like, I stole some makeup. They're fucking after. What's crazy is I was just in Boston and I like went through all my personal stuff and I found all my dad's shit because my dad was a crackhead. And I got taken away when I was 12 and then he just went like full Hunter Biden. He got these camcorders and I have like 20 hours of footage. No dicks or anything. Or not yet. I've only watched like 2 hours.
What's his footage? So it's non-sex tapes. It's just
him.
It's
like him and my mom like smoking crack and like being paranoid and like him doing drug deals and like setting up the camera on his like little Ford Taurus because he's paranoid.
True.
And it's like him like filming his closet and he's like the CIA has like summoned a demon to live in my closet. It's like really crazy.
How many hours of this footage do you have?
I have like 20 tapes. Yeah.
Damn.
So that'll probably be the subject of like the next book or like a documentary.
Yeah, I was about to say that would be a wild doc. Yeah. Damn, maybe he was just reviewing the tapes, trying to get better at drug dealing, and be like, I could have been a little more careful right there in that parking lot. I could have.
Well, I think he was just really paranoid and was filming everything. And I think crack does make you voyeuristic, or it makes you start filming for some reason. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, but this is like 2001, like with a camcorder.
I could see that. If you wake up and you're like, damn, last night was a movie, dude. I got to record the next one.
And he's like learning how to edit. It was like editing on the camera, like doing swipes and stuff. So it's like him smoking crack, and then there's just like a swipe of a picture of a crack pipe. He's like doing like iMovie shit from 2001.
So you're going to go through all that footage?
I'm going to go through all, yeah.
True. Yeah, now it's all locked up, I guess.
Yeah. So that kind of fucked everything up. Like I was doing it back in the day when they weren't locking everything up and I was like pretty good. I had like a pretty good system and I made more money than I do now, like working a job.
Yeah, you were saying when you were shoplifting, it was a couple thousand like a day pretty much?
No, like a couple thousand a week untaxed.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So like the same that you would make it like a job now.
Same, it's a shame you missed the self-checkout.
I know.
I had no excuse. I was of a relatively sober mind and I pillaged those things pretty hard in the beginning. Yeah. And it wasn't even for like a lust for stuff. I was just kind of like, it was more of like a game where I'd be like, is anyone here actually paying attention to this? Yeah. And it turned out, no, not really at all.
No.
But yeah, I've since obviously given that up. But the, yeah, remember that part of the book where you had a guy who would serve as decoy and then you would just slip into the side and just, because he was, I guess everyone was like, oh, this motherfucker is going to come in here and steal, and you could just clean out and move.
Yeah, Richie. I mean, his real name was Ryden. I'll just say it, I guess. But Ryden was like known across LA County as like a top shoplifter. So he'd go in first. All the staff would be like, fucking Ryden's here. They would like, they'd like all huddle around Ryden, and I'd sneak in with 2 like Trader Joe's like permanent shopping bags tucked in my pants and just like dump shit into my bags.
Damn, then you're probably looking pretty hippie when you went out there though.
I know. I look like a good Samaritan just chopping.
Wait, so you had them in your pants and you popped them out?
Popped them out.
And then carried?
Yeah, just carried 2 bags. And I linked up with this like, what do you call it? Like a fence. And I got him to start buying makeup. So I just like pour makeup into my bag, and he'd give me like $2.75 per little eyelash thing or whatever. And I just started making a ton of money.
Damn.
And still going to Yeah. I kind of worked for this guy that was like working under the cartel, and he would pay me to deliver heroin, and heroin addicts, as you see outside, they're sleepy, they're pretty sleepy. So he was like, I can't trust that you drive and do heroin. You're going to crash. You're going to get arrested. So you actually, as a prerequisite for the job, you have to start doing meth. And that was a line, and I was like, well, it's part of my job details. Like, obviously I'm going to do that.
Being responsible.
Yeah. And meth, I like fell in love with
man.
Yeah, I'm a company man. And I started doing meth, and that, like, I went from like a homeless student. I mean, a drug addict student, like pretty manageable, had a girlfriend, all that, like, to like within 3 weeks, like screaming at people, homeless, like lost my place to live, dropped out of school, crashed my car, lost the car. Yeah, meth like really quickly took me down, and
that kind of sent you into orbit, basically.
Yeah, and I like lost my mind, and there's a lot of fun to be had like in meth psychosis and all that, but it does become pretty unmanageable, and eventually I used crack cocaine to quit meth, so I kind of fell in love with crack
because that got you off the meth. Yeah, and I've heard vice versa. I've heard of people using meth to get off the crack.
A lot of people actually do that. Yeah, so if you go to Skid Row, it's like full of like OG crackheads that switch to meth.
And they're kind of like, Are they tame or are they kind of out of it?
Well, meth is cheaper, but I think meth is like, you can stay up for 6 days on meth and like really start doing some damage, like, really thinking that you're talking to demons and all that. And you get into this like really dark psychosis, whereas crack is very simple. It's just like you think it's like you're just paranoid about the police. So like it actually, and it's very like short, it's like short bursts of this paranoia that's actually pretty fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. So like you smoke crack and you think like the FBI is after you, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's better than demons. I'd rather keep it to this realm.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Open myself up to like, interdimensional fucking beings and shit.
And you like tell yourself you're like, I'm going to smoke this crack. Like, obviously the CIA is not after me. Obviously the FBI is not after me. Like, I'm a homeless crackhead. And then every single time then you smoke crack and you're like immediately hiding behind a dumpster and you're like, there's a helicopter. And they're like, I stole some makeup. They're fucking after. I'm on like America's Most Wanted.
I'm on the bulletin board. They got my picture. Board, yeah. The fucking yarn connected me to all the other dudes. Yeah, that is kind of terrifying. It was weird too when you said you were able to like eventually with meth realize like with like, when you're bugging out on weed, like none of this is real. But like, I guess obviously it's way deeper, but to realize like this is just a meth delusion. And you were able to like kind of ride that out a little bit, which sounds fucking crazy.
Yeah, well, when you first start doing it, you have a lot of auditory hallucinations, so you actually hear like your friends so you're like, holy shit, my friends are in the house, like they're in the next room. Then you start texting your friend. I would text my friends and be like, yo, I hear you talking shit, and they're like, I'm 100 miles away right now.
And you're like, yeah, right. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
And then but the auditory hallucinations are so. They're just so insane that eventually you are like, okay, like my friends are not in the next room, my family is not in the next room, and you sort of tame the beast at that point, and then it just turns into like mental hallucinations, and fentanyl sort of hit Florida first. So I have shot fentanyl. I don't like it. I died. I overdosed in some guy's car, and he like took me to the hospital, and like took everything out of my pockets and like dragged me out of his car and left me.
Jerk.
But they they Narcan me, and they were like, yeah, man, you were doing fentanyl. And I was like, I didn't even know what fentanyl was.
Yeesh.
And they told me. So then obviously I was like, I'm never doing that again. And then like 2 days later, I was like, I'm going to do that again.
I'm gonna try it out.
And fentanyl is.
So you died. You clinically.
I died. I died for like 4 minutes.
Dude,
yeah.
I have a friend who did that. He died like 3 times.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy because you're like dead, and then they Narcan you and you feel like you're underwater and someone's like pulling you up from the ocean. You're like at the bottom of the ocean. You can't breathe. You're like trying to breathe. And then they like pull you out, then you just pop out of the ocean, and then you're just in a hospital and people are like looking at you.
And I heard you're pretty agitated too, because like it all
pissed.
wears off.
It all wears off. You're fucking pissed, and they like don't want to help you because I'm like, can I use a phone? The guy took my phone. They're like, can you use a phone? Like, get the fuck
you're
out
right
of
on the beat. You're like, bro, I need to talk to my boy. He owes me $40. You're like, lay down, dude. You're dead.
Yes, and they cut my shirt open, so I had like they like let me go with a gown in Miami, and I was just like walking around Miami with a gown and like no phone. And I called my dad. I finally called my dad, and he was just like, man, you got to go to jail. Like jail would help you right now.
Yeah,
So
what you do.
I think I just called some other people, and eventually, I got picked up. But I just kept using fentanyl. But fentanyl is like very debilitating. Like, I would do fentanyl, and like I had like a 2-week run on fentanyl, and I'd like. You do fentanyl and you just wake up 12 hours later in like a different neighborhood, and it's really fucked up. Whereas heroin, you can like I used to do construction on heroin. Like you can maintain it. I used like operating heavy machinery and shit.
Yeah.
Whereas with fentanyl, I couldn't even make it back to my halfway house. So like the one rule at my halfway house was like you just have to show up before midnight and you don't get kicked out. And I got kicked out. Like I couldn't even drive a car. Yeah.
Yeah.